ज़रूर आएगा अब कोई गुफ्तगू करने, मैं उसके आने से पहले का शोर महफ़िल हूँ। हमारे बहुत ही मुअज़्ज़ज़ मेहमान और वतन अज़ीज़ की अज़ीम इल्मी और फ़िक्री शख्सियत जनाब प्रोफेसर डॉक्टर अनीस अहमद, वाइस चांसलर रिफ़ा इंटरनेशनल यूनिवर्सिटी इस्लामाबाद, मैं मुल्तमिस हूँ कि वो तशरीफ़ लाएँ और फ़िक्र इस्लामी में रिवायत व जिद्दत के ताल्लुक़ से अपने ख़यालात आलिया से हमें मुस्तफ़ीद फ़रमाएँ। जनाब डॉक्टर अनीस अहमद साहब।
मोहतरम शेखुल जामे, मोहतरम डॉक्टर इफ्तिखार साहिब, डॉक्टर खालिद मसूद साहिब, हमारे अमीद कुल्लिया हाशमी साहिब और इंतहाई मोहतरम हाज़रीन महफ़िल, मैं ये समझता हूँ कि ये मौजू जो आपके सामने रखा गया है गैर मामूली अहम है, और अगर आप चंद लम्हात के लिए इजाज़त दें तो मैं चाहूँगा कि गुफ्तगू का ख़ुलासा पहले अंग्रेज़ी में रख दूँ और बाद में हम उस पर उर्दू में भी बात कर लें। द टॉपिक has enormous importance because it needs to be understood in its proper conceptual context. We often look on concepts from either a sociological viewpoint or historical viewpoint, and therefore we try to trace their origin in history and then try to compare them and find out what is similarity and dissimilarity and what's something new. When we talk about modernity and tradition, then tradition refers essentially to what has been in practice in history. If I use a simple term, tradition stands for social constructs. These social constructs are formed and developed by each society and culture. And therefore, the whole Eurocentric anthropology, sociology, and history follow one simple pattern. And that pattern is try to find out what are social constructs and how they grow into values and culture and civilization. Colonialists particularly went to all parts of the world with this colonial vision. Colonial vision told them, whether they were anthropologists or sociologists, makes no difference, that these downtrodden people who have no concept of civilization, therefore the primitive mind, primitive soul, the heathens, yet titles of books, which I'm telling you, these are downtrodden people. They have no culture, no idea. Culture, enlightenment, history, everything begins in Europe. And therefore, they want to teach the rest of the world through their imperialism of knowledge, not just political, that your concepts and your views are all archaic, and we are champions of modernity. I think we have to come out of this colonial mindset, decolonize our mind, and look on their own concepts from different perspectives. Western thought developed in a milieu where essentially Christianity was married with materialism by Karl Marx. It was married, rather divorced, by Auguste Comte with scientism. Scientism and this evolutionary thought became the basis of all European development of ideas. And that became so much an obsession that West cannot think otherwise. They can only think in terms of evolutionary ideas coming from social constructs or total reliance on either Kantian reason or Comte's view of scientism. Scientism prevailed, and that's why you find today there is hardly a university in the world, in the East or the West, which can say we are not in need of science and technology. I fully agree with that. But I believe science and technology are tools, not the basis of humanity. The great tragedy is that we don't differentiate between tools and the basis. If human beings are eliminated and substituted with a technological view of universe, mechanical view of human being, mechanical view of society, then are we going to have enlightenment, development of civilization, or death of civilization? I'm not saying Muslims don't need rejuvenation. I'm not saying Muslims don't need ijtihad. I'm not saying we should not take benefit from others. All I'm submitting is that we should not view things from Eurocentric perspective, which has been imposed through colonialism throughout the Muslim world and even the European continent. Eurocentrism is a hazard which has influenced every mind in Europe, and global imperialism has been its tool for implementing globally. When we talk about modernity, who defines that? What is modern? Is talking in English modernity? Talking in French modernity? Is wearing a three-piece suit modernity? Is living in a village modernity? Who defines modernity? Who defines enlightenment? Is it Will Durant who tells us in his 11 volumes how different ages took place and then you are now in age of scientism? And then you believe in that? Is that belief scientific and logical? Or more or less a matter of imposition? Therefore, my first submission is that topic should be approached not from Eurocentric viewpoint, but with a mind which is liberated from these conceptual impositions. Secondly, we need to understand human civilization is bound to progress. It's not human beings who can control it. There is an ongoing process in the universe which is beyond our control. Human societies will always encounter new problems and they have to find out new solutions. But should they keep on changing their parameters of ethics and morality by saying we are in the age of individualism and ethics is a personal matter, or in age of dualism where life is compartmentalized in what is secular and what is sacred? I disagree with both approaches. I believe humanity can progress only and can have enlightenment only when you have a holistic approach of knowledge and not a compartmentalized approach of knowledge. Modern social sciences, starting with all those big names of Weber and Talcott Parson and Levi Strauss and Durkheim and whatnot, all those are based on their worldview, which is essentially positivist and dualist. And that compartmentalized human life in a homo economicus, a bundle of desires and urges and libido, a bundle of obsessions, or a human being who is just slave to power, Nietzscheism. This fragmentation of human life has to come to an end one day. Human life must be unified. Knowledge must be unified. And that's only possible when we get rid of Eurocentric mindset. Secondly, not only unified knowledge, but we need to define for ourselves what's the meaning of progress and development. Huntington very proudly says in his book that modernization means westernization, and no Muslim countries can be modernized unless they accept westernization. I'm glad that at least with honesty he speaks of the mind. He's not hiding his feelings. He's saying in plain words that we, the colonizers, we may not be British, but American makes no difference. And unless you follow what we are telling you, the so-called 17 MDGs, unless you salute them and welcome them, you are living in dark ages. You need enlightenment. I'm finishing in 5 minutes. So the conference need to think out of the box. You don't have to follow in footsteps of Eurocentrism. The whole social sciences are slave to that. And unless you come out of it, you cannot bring Renaissance, quote unquote. Renaissance was a need of the hour of that continent because that was oppressed. We don't have the same situation. We have some different reasons behind our backwardness. We have embraced supremacy of the West over the rest. And unless we come out of that and discover our own potential, our own values, our own ways of doing things, we cannot build a future. Islam wants to build a future of humanity based on objectives of Sharia, which are global, universal, not for Muslims. It's a total misunderstanding that Sharia is a divine law for Muslims. No. Sharia is based on universal principles of humanity, and therefore it's only there lies the future of humanity. May I bless you all. Thank you very much.